flat out working. So I wouldn't say the word wait in this regard at all. As I mentioned, there's three trigger points, and that's 61 and rising, and the systems, and make sure that the system is not unraveling, and we also have safety of the workers included. Other questions?
Any concern that Caro is eroding from underneath? You see those holes on Commercial Street back here, there's a lot of water underneath the city itself. Is that anything that you all have discussed?
Certainly, and that's the failure mechanism right now at Cairo is not overtopping, it's under seepage. And that's the same issue that we have at Fulton County and the same issue we have at Bucks Chute in Eagle Lake. It's not an overtopping failure, it is a under seepage concern that we're looking at.
General, it is the operational plan calls for, it is the intent of the current plan to allow natural overtopping of the upper fuse flood section prior to determining the necessity to provide levee. Is it still your intention absolutely to allow natural overtopping to occur prior to operation?
The three things that we're looking for: if the system's not stable and it begins to degrade, then we will make that decision prior to overtopping. Assuming that the system does not degrade and it gets to 61 and rising, that will be a decision point as well. And then the third thing, of course, is safety of the work. Those three things are what I'm looking at before making that decision.
I know we were originally expecting a crest today. Obviously, that's no longer the case. Do we have any idea, are those the numbers that you're waiting on when we might be seeing a crest at Cairo?
Right. Right now, I think the last this morning it was a crest on the 3rd of May. That crest was going to extend out 5 or 6 days. I believe from what I'm hearing unofficially is that may happen earlier than the 3rd of May. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
If you do have to operate the floodway, how soon do you think the pressure or the stress that's going all the way down will be relieved? And what happens if the rain doesn't stop even after you operate the floodway, if it comes to that?
The crest is going to continue to go downriver until it goes into the Gulf of Mexico. So I suspect we will have to operate the Barney Carey spillway, and at this point we're not quite sure whether we're going to have to operate the Gonza spillway.
But what about in our area? Once you operate the floodway in our area, how soon will it take for the stress to be relieved?
We think it'll be about 24 hours before we see a reduction in stages. We'll see reductions at Cairo and further up, and Paducah and further upriver, and we'll also see reduction in stages as we go downriver. And those reductions, we think, was somewhere between 48 and 72 hours.
General, they have postponed the Kentucky Derby. Louisville obviously is getting water. When you talk about system, that's as far grass, as far rise you're talking about the whole system, correct? The Upper Ohio.
The Upper Ohio is part of the system, and they are getting record floods as well. General Peabody has done everything that he can to hold water back, but his dams are reaching capacity.
So we talk about the system degrading. It's obviously continuing to degrade with the amount of water that's going to sustain. It's not going to stop degrading.
But we've been able to stabilize those areas that that have been degrading, and because of the hard work of a lot of volunteers and the National Guard and our engineers, we've been able to stabilize those areas that are degrading. But we need to be vigilant, continue to do what we're doing, walking and driving the levees and seeing if there's any other impacts that we need to get to and stabilize.
You said that you suspect you might operate another floodway in Louisiana. Do you have any suspicion about whether or not this floodway would have to be activated?
Yes, when the Cairo gauge gets to 61 and rising, when the system becomes destabilized, then we'll operate the system.
You had to operate the
sure which system you're talking about.
You said that, problems in Cairo and some other situations that you guys are shoring up and you've got people working on those, that if the decision had to be made and you were to make that decision today, is it ready, is it prepared to activate?
Yes, the floodway is prepared to, for the next decision cycle, and that's to move the tows up to the levees. The next cycle after that, the floodway is prepared for all of the decision cycles between now and next year.
And could you just give us an idea, if you do have to activate, what kind of timeline we're talking about, how long it would take to do that, and how much advance notice we'd be giving residents?
We'll be talking with the governors and keeping them directly informed as we make each of the decisions. I've talked with the governor staff in both states this morning about putting the tows on a 1,500-hour be prepared to move to the levees. As we go into the next decision cycle, and that's to move the materials off of the barge into the pipes, we'll again inform the governors of when that decision point is. Every one of these decision points is not just a decision of myself only. There's hundreds of engineers and scientists that are working and talking with each other, contract and construction guys that are out there feeding information into a decision cycle. The decision goes to the district commander, Colonel Reichling, all of these hundreds of data points, and he gives me a recommendation from there. I use the data points at my level and make a decision from there.
All right. Excuse me, sir, we're. Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. Pardon me. One question initiated me making this comment. This about Louisville and the Kentucky Derby. This watershed carries 41% of the water in the United States, the third largest watershed in the world, and we now have the flood of record coming down that watershed, not only from the Ohio, but from the Missouri and the Upper Miss. That's a nightmare when you get a crest coming down from all three of those systems, not to mention the Illinois and some of the other smaller ones. So that's what the Corps is trying to handle. That's what the River Commission is trying to handle as it comes back. As the General said, the MRG project goes all the way to Gulf of Mexico. This is what we're focused on right now with Burke's Point and Madrid, but we'll continue to be focused until this floodwater gets out into the Gulf of Mexico. On a personal note, we've had concern expressed to us from areas of East Prairie and New Madrid about if you use that floodway, will we still be protected? Those cities are not in the floodway, but the reason those people are fearful, the waters that would be activated, that would come into the floodway, would run adjacent to their protection levees. We still at this time feel those protection levees are very adequate and good enough shape to handle the water coming down the floodway. But if anyone in your viewing area has concerns, they need to talk to the sheriffs of New Madrid County and Mississippi County, Missouri. They are prepared to help them and direct them. I think we have time for one more question, please. Yes, sir. Sorry.
I'm from Lake Village, Arkansas. I've had the opportunity to be up here twice on flyover. In my almost 32 years on the commission, this is the worst flooding I've ever seen in my life. Y'all have got roads underwater, railroads underwater, highways underwater. It's really bad. And like I say, all this water that y'all got up here, it's got to come down my way also. We're pretty high down there now, but I just want to tell you, it's really bad up here.
Or you want to take one more?
One more question, but before we do that, thanks for all of you being here. I know it was short notice as we're running from one place to another. Yes, sir.
Senator Blunt said that the time frame is